Greetings, everybody. As promised in the introductory video, I was going to offer you another video on discussion posts in particular. I wanted to hold off on that for a very specific reason. I didn't want sometimes students, especially summer school students, are very ambitious and they tend to want to jump into things early, which is great. That's actually a good way of doing it. But for this one, I needed you to wait before you jumped into it because it's required to have gone through all of the lecture essays for any particular unit before you post, because the essay prompt is it has to be answered, has to be responded to by referring to each of the lecture essays. So let's go through this step by step so you can get a good sense of what's expected. So here we go. Here's the forum. You're going to click Unit 1, and the thread is already up there. So you just go ahead and click here. And the objective. Basically, for Unit 1, what we're doing is exploring the ideals of early American history founded in the Enlightenment by philosophers like John Locke, and the contradictions of those values when it came to the reality of slavery. So what you're going to do is you're going to write a 2 to 5 paragraph. 5 paragraphs would be quite a bit for this post. So if you don't have quite 5 paragraphs, don't worry about it. Some students do write quite a bit, and as long as they are offering examples within their post and it's relevant and germane to the discussion post prompt, which is below, and I'll show that in just a second, have at it. But usually students get this done within about 2 paragraphs. Sometimes 3. Your post must have at least 3 references. I changed this up from the directions, so do take note of this. The directions now list this as well. Your post must have 3 references from each lecture. 1 from each lecture, let me emphasize that. So you need to reference the age of expansion and conquest. You have to reference the development of slavery, and you have to reference salutary neglect in this post. It's highly recommended also to use the material that is at the end of Unit 1. It's also at the end of the link for the discussion post instructions. Now let me just open up this link right here to show it to you. You'll certainly probably have to find some information within these articles here. Do note that these articles pertain to the entire semester. So Unit 1 is dealing with the years 1608 to 1781. So when you're reading something, if it's talking about the Mexican-American War, if it's talking about the Civil War, if it's talking about Andrew Jackson, if it's talking about the U.S. Constitution, that is beyond the scope of this time frame, 1601 to 1781. This is basically the beginning of British America all the way up to the Revolutionary War, 1781. So do keep that in mind at the conclusion of the Revolutionary War. You must respond to at least 1 student's post. More will reflect better on your grade, perhaps, depending on the quality of your responses that contribute to the student's posting, offering examples of successes and failures of slaves. And when I mean that, it's not a personal. It could be a personal success, but by no means do I mean a personal failure of any individual who was trapped in the nightmare of slavery. The failure actually is reflecting on the failure of the major contradiction in American history. That is, we are a nation founded on the principles of freedom, of human rights, of representative government, and yet we were also founded as a nation, central to us as a nation, the institution of slavery. So that's what I'm talking about when it comes to failure, just their struggles within that institution, basically. Or your response to a student post can be just talking about American ideals in the framework, within the framework of Enlightened principles founded by mainly John Locke. And make sure you understand who John Locke was. There's some information about John Locke and salutary neglect He was paramount to the founding generation of this country. The Declaration of Independence is steeped in John Locke's philosophy. So understand where that's coming from. Let's see. So Unit 1 post's prompt is identify the ideals of the Enlightenment and how they applied and constructed American ideals. In your discussion, American ideals, things that you just think of when it comes to America, just the typical things: freedom, human rights, representative government, those kinds of things. Right? In your discussion, identify how African Americans were designated as an outside group. They were not part of that process, obviously. Where American ideals were denied them. How did they struggle against the dominant class, white male Anglo-Saxon Protestants? In their struggle, identify one example of success and failure. And again, what I mean by failure is their experience in slavery, but be specific. Identify individuals, identify groups of people in slavery, either from the films, from the lecture, and from that list of references that I showed you. Again, make sure if you are using that list of references that it's within that time frame, 1608 to 1781. Yeah, and these are some of the examples. You know, it could include slaves running away, revolts. It could be Africans, early Africans in colonial America that owned land. You could talk about that. You could talk about soldiers in the French Indian War, the 7 Years' War, or the American Revolutionary War within the time frame of Unit 1. Those kinds of things, okay? So you could really broaden your horizons right there. So that's about it. Do let me know if you have any questions or concerns with this, and have fun with this. This is a way of just basically applying what you learned in a broader sense, in a less restricted sense. In the lectures, by all means, use my words. In this, if you are going to use my words, you need to quote and paraphrase what it is I mean by the words that you're quoting. So you're not just copy and pasting the lectures and putting them in there. Don't do that. You'll get a big fat goose egg for this assignment. This is an opportunity for you to demonstrate, not just to me, but to the other students, that you understand what it is that you're learning from this course, and apply it specifically to this prompt. Other units will have other prompts, so you'll have a little bit more leeway in later units. But I really wanted to address the issue of slavery within the context of the profound contradictions, that is, of American society and its history. All right, that's all I have for now. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Do email me if you have questions, as always, too.